the volume, pump up the volume. You say
Redeemer full of culture, y'all.
check this out.
Hey, welcome to Ghetto Gallery.
We're on the corner of Edgeware and Edinburgh Roads in St Peters. It's a pretty derelict corner right here, but there's some great pieces that we're going to tell you about.
So let's do it.
Where I'm standing right here is quite a neglected area. It's got junk and rubbish that's just being thrown all over the ground. Everywhere it's really run down, but the great thing about it is that artists are attracted to these kind of spaces. It's really where the underground movement and graffiti was born. So what was a really kind of bleak and ugly facade, artists have come in and really brightened it up with their paintings. Typically artists can't afford to live in any inner city spaces and are moving out for cheaper rent and cheaper studios into the more grimy kind of run-down areas of cities, and you see that right across the globe. Here in Sydney they head west usually, we're standing in the inner west right now. The beauty in that is that the renewal of the area, the beauty that that creates as they go out into the street, brighten it up and put their murals all over our walls.
The great thing about graffiti is that there's no rules. Well, except for one. It's got to look good. It's got to draw the eye in. I mean, that's the whole point of it. You want attention. A lot of the artists these days is always about explosion coming out of the walls. That's why we have the drop downs. That's why we have the shadows. Everything makes it look like it's coming forward. In this piece right here, you're going to see that he uses a snake. The snake comes up and around, and then it'll come through over here, and then it'll come over the top. The thing that is always great about typography and looking at writing is what you can do with it and how it can draw the eyes. And if you notice with this one, this is all leaning. It's all kind of squished and moving into one side. So it's got this squishiness like the snake. And if you take a look over here, we have lines that start to squish as well. So over here and over there as well, lines will start to squish and compress. So it's got the look like a snake, which is really cool, right? The other thing too is that, you know, graffiti, I think I've mentioned this before, but you don't really have to be able to read it. It's not really about that, which is another one of those rules that they break. But in this case, the artists have made it a little easier, giving us a nice easy Z that goes across. So looking at that Z and moving across to the beginning of it, I'm going to go that this is a J. And over here we have an A, and up here we have an N. So I'm going to go for Jens. Make no mistake that graffiti is an art form, and you can see in this a lot of Picasso. A lot of these artworks are taken from other artworks. They're taken from any kind of influence artistically. So what we're looking at is a jumbling of ideas to convey something, just like art. And if you look at this, you'll notice that it breaks his own rules. We've got some cubist kind of sharp shapes, but then we've got lines that break that. So it's not actually even a solid form. It's all about the aesthetic. And if you're looking at the color tones, it shows that there's a shadow, making it look three-dimensional. But if you take a closer look at some of the lines, you'll notice it's not. It's all about sort of hiding disguising what's actually being shown. One thing I love is when graffiti artists all work together, and in this case you can see it's all together because of the color scheme, also the characters. We've got Cobra Commander over there and the different characters on either side of this piece, but also the fire and how it's burning through this red and white, which could be the American flag. I think it's G.I. Joe. Going through the whole place and above the roof as well, which is brilliant.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be on again in a fortnight. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you won't miss it. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, so take a look at the links below and you can catch what we're doing there. Until then, see you next time.